Hello, and welcome to another fully live and probably very echoey episode of Hacking with Friends. My name is Kody Kinzie. I am a security researcher at Varonis, and today I am going to answer your hacking questions and also talk a little bit about the Hackaday SuperCon. So I am actually in their lab right now. I'm in the design lab itself. And this is a place in Pasadena that I've been to several times before. It is a place where a lot of like soldering and assembly and events happen. And I am helping out today to make sure that SuperCon gets all of their conference stuff in time, because there's still a lot of soldering to do. So if I seem a lot closer to the screen than usual, it is because I have a very short HDMI cable and I can actually like reach out and almost touch the camera. So a little bit closer than usual today, but it's cool to be here in Pasadena. There's a lot going on. There's two of our team back there soldering right now. Angelina is back there soldering, and then also David, the person who helped me make Millbyte, is also there. So yeah, it's a really cool conference that I'm looking forward to, and there's lots of interesting stuff here to do. So I'm also going to talk a little bit about my Halloween experience. So let me go ahead and share my screen. So, okay, this Halloween, I decided, where is it here? No. I decided to make a couple of interactive things. I wanted to both provide, a visual treat for people with some of my costumes, and then also maybe a little bit of trick with one of these devices I built. So let's go ahead and start with the treat. I decided to start out as Mr. Yuck, the poison control symbol, or mascot, some might say. This was a mascot that was scientifically developed to disgust children, because it turns out that the skull and crossbones actually looks a little bit too much like pirates. So kids tend to see the skull and crossbones, get intrigued, and start looking around for pirates, maybe drink a potion. That's not what you want. So instead, I believe it was like Pittsburgh, something like that, like came up with this logo. Somebody on Twitter was really excited to see their area represented. And this is a logo that's supposed to disgust children and make sure that they don't get into stuff. So I thought that, lots of people would have seen this. It turns out there was not a lot of love for Mr. Yuck out there. So after walking around a little bit and not really getting too much of a hit, I decided to change up the LED mask and try something new. The next thing I tried was dyeing Twitter. This actually did a lot better. I was really impressed. It turns out that really identified with Twitter kind of fading into obscurity. So seeing this bird logo walking around in the Grim Reaper costume, I feel like a lot of people connected with that. So that was a pretty good costume. And I have to say, these LED masks are super cool. I worked with a Wi-Fi one last year that was super, super terrible. I found that it was difficult to change the mask. It would restart or trigger the changing feature all the time. So if you were trying out one of these LED masks, if you had similar problems this year, then I highly recommend the Bluetooth version of these masks. They're not able to do video files, but you're able to put several frames together and play them continuously. So you could kind of make your own GIF if you want to. I found them to be pretty cool. And weirdly, I was the only person in a pretty crowded area that had one of these masks. So if you're looking for something that hasn't been completely done to death yet, these masks are pretty cool, and you can combine them with other things to make an interesting theme. So can you see very well? No, but you can still see a lot better than my other costume. So I recommend this if this is something that you've been curious about, these masks, whether or not they're easy to use. I'm not getting in and doing low-level programming here. They're just, an app that you download and then connect, and then they work pretty well. So I was impressed by this. If you're looking to try one out, I think I got mine for $40. So that was actually a very successful costume. James says that we need to add a few IR pixels and hook it up to a flipper. Honestly, if I had one of these masks that had IR blasters on it that could look at something and then turn it off or whatever and react, that would be so cool. A mask that actually hacks stuff or interacts with things, I would be super, super into that. James also had never heard of Mr. Yuck. So apparently there's like a Canadian campaign called Don't Put It in Your Mouth that like a bunch of Canadians in our area were telling us is like way more popular than Mr. Yuck. And like they played the jingle and I've actually heard it before. So for poison control mascots, apparently this wasn't even the most famous one, which was a little surprising, honestly. But yeah, honestly, if you were able to make this mask into something that could actually interact with things, like hack something, I think this would be even better than it was before. So after that, I have to ask people in this crowd, this is a highly targeted costume. If you have lost control of your screen time, if you're spending way too much time on TikTok or even Instagram, I feel like this is something that you would have seen. Can anybody in this chat tell me what this character is, or what I was dressed up as? There was a lot of like Zoomers who were coming up to me and knew exactly what this was, and they were amazed by the costume. So if you know what this is, please feel free to shout it out in the chat. I was really happy that a lot of people recognized it, but I had to take this latex bird mask and paint it white. And the other thing is the eyes aren't here where the eyes of the bird are. The eyes are actually in the bill over by the corner. So there's a huge section in the center where you can't see anything, like an actual bird. So as you're walking around, you see here and you see here, but you don't see directly in front of you. And it's extremely disorienting to just have a big blind spot in front of your face. So I ran into a lot of people. I almost fell down many times, but this costume I think was pretty good. Originally, I planned to have stilts to go along with this. However, they were suicide to put on, so I was not dedicated enough to do that. All in all, I'm pretty happy with this. COVID? No. It's not a COVID or a Corvid. This is a meme from TikTok, an AI generated meme from TikTok. One might say a future meme. But yeah, it's of the costumes I did, I have to say this is probably my favorite one of how it actually came out. So let's move on to the trick. So I decided that I wanted to make a little bit of rapid prototyping magic while I was getting ready for Halloween. So as I might have mentioned before, I'm a huge fan of street art, and I will go anywhere to find excellent street art. And in particular, the LA storm drain tunnels are some of my favorite places to go for street art. And there's a lot of people that go down there. I don't often encounter them, but sometimes I'll see evidence of other people going by. So I was just like, you know what? Let's make something that actually is able to interact with fellow people that are going into these dark, kind of scary storm drain tunnels. And let's use a little bit of electronics to make some magic. So I prototyped this. You can see there's a breadboard here, and I have to give a shout out to our team member Aria. She created this breadboard breakout for the Nugget. It's actually super cool, and I use it all the time for prototyping. So what is this? I attached a speaker, which came out of, I believe this was a bird scooter that was like destroyed and left on the side of the road. So this was just an e-waste speaker. I used an amplifier board from Amazon or AliExpress. You can get it for about $1.80. I used a Nugget, which admittedly is a little bit more expensive, but I'm going to try one out that just uses a microcontroller here to kind of bring down the cost. And that's pretty much it. I also have a a light dependent resistor or an LDR. So what is this doing? Well, you guys might have seen my Terminator skull that shouts when you touch the candy bowl. By the way, that went super well. This is a little different. We swapped out the candy bowl that can detect someone touching it instead for a light dependent resistor. And what we're going to do is put this in a dark area and wait for somebody with a light to walk by. And when they do walk by, this thing is going to scream like crazy. So this is the prototype. Okay, I'm keeping the volume pretty low, but you can see it kind of starts shouting as soon as I shine the flashlight on it. And then my friends and I went deep into the storm drain tunnel system. We found the perfect area, like a little kind of like hole in the wall that was full of trash. And this is the result. So let's say that you are a mile deep in a storm drain tunnel. It's your first time. You're a little on edge maybe, and you're using your cell phone light in order to see. This is what would happen. All right, so don't know if you can hear that because I'm using the MacBook speaker today, but a horrible scream is what happens when you walk by and trigger that. So I used, I think, a battery from like an old solar light in order to like power this for hopefully a couple weeks. And I explored a little bit with the sleep and deep sleep state of microcontrollers. So this means I'm able to basically tell this thing to fall asleep until it detects voltage on the pin that's connected to the LDR, the light dependent resistor. So as soon as some sort of light source starts allowing voltage to flow through this LDR, then it will trigger and will start screaming like crazy. My friends have recommended actually that I set this on a 30-second delay so that after people walk by, they suddenly have something screaming behind them. So that's my thought, is like maybe if I were to reconfigure this a little bit and change it so that it's just as sensitive, but it waits 30 seconds until they've already passed to go off, I think that just might make the difference, you know, because then it would be way more confusing as to where this thing is coming out from. So if you saw in this video, it looks like there's just like a pile of cans or something like in this like area here. Let's see. And really that was the idea was, there we go, was to use one of these cans as a resonator. So the speaker is actually attached to one of these soda cans or beer cans or whatever was left down there. And that is what is actually making the noise so much louder. So I was able to build the device, hide it behind a bunch of like shoes and trash and stuff that was already in there, and then have one can sticking out that had the speaker like attached to the back. And that can vibrating is what was actually transmitting the noise into the tunnel. So that was my little Halloween trick. I got to work on a very quick prototype that was primarily e-waste, I would say. Yeah, overall that was pretty cool. Yeah, so that, oh, and I noticed that this has stopped sharing my screen in the middle of that. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so this was the final result of the entire thing. After about 8 hours of soldering and prototyping, I was pretty happy to get that result. Should last for, I'm gonna guess, maybe like a week or so. So yeah, if you have any questions about rapid prototyping, that is something that I enjoy doing a lot. And oh, it looks like it doesn't want to show my screen. Okay, well, what are you gonna do? Okay, so James said that his nephew dressed as as this bird, Arctic bird. So this was an erosion bird, also known as Le Comfit. And I got a bunch of people who recognize that. Yeah, so this is a TikTok meme, often featured this bird like in an Arctic setting. Why? Cryptic, no one knows. That's why it's a cryptid. Yes. Make it happen. Are you at Supply Frame? I am. Can you see? I actually positioned the camera or tried to so you can see everybody soldering over my shoulder. I am at Supply Frame in Pasadena with an incredibly short HDMI cable, sitting in the conference room, taking a break from soldering badges. So I used to do student leadership at Pasadena City College right down the street, and I met the folks at Supply Frame because we were doing a bunch of leadership events and like we needed a space, and they did a bunch of excellent stuff. So we started working together, and then when they needed help, somebody from Supply Frame reached out to me and asked if I knew anyone who was able to help with soldering. So me and two of the other team are here soldering today at Supply Frame in Pasadena, trying to make sure that everything's ready for the Hackaday SuperCon. Yeah, so it's been a super busy day. I haven't been able to get to everything that I'm supposed to get to yet, but it has been a success in terms of like, it looks like things are pretty much winding down here in terms of like what they need to do. It looks like the badges are almost all soldered. I think I had 4 left in my little like group of soldering of badges to solder to go. So yeah, looks like we're just about done here. This is my second day volunteering. I also volunteered on Monday for a bit as well. The lunch alone is worth it. So yeah, I'm really excited to see a bunch of people coming in. Yes, how are the badges coming? They're so cool. I don't think there's no, all right, I don't have a badge in the room with me, but they are these super awesome vector scopes. And I've been soldering on the power switches, some of the add-on components, and then the battery holders. And it looks like they're using like AA batteries on the back to power these. So I've been like soldering those in place, cutting the leads and stuff. And like, I feel like because my team's DEF CON badge went so well and so many things went right, that I owe a debt to other makers who are doing something very ambitious. So me and my team made like 200 badges or so, and it took like everyone we knew coming together to make these things. Supply Frame, like seems like they needed a lot of help initially getting this done, but today there's tons of people here, and it seems like they're getting all the help they need. So yeah, looks like the Hackaday SuperCon is going to be super fun. I'll be there. Make It Hackin's going to be there, and hey, maybe you could come on the stream, talk a little bit about some of the things that you're covering in your workshop, because I was actually really interested once I saw what your talk was about. Yeah, so I think that we are also planning on doing a little after event. We've been talking about maybe seeing if the folks at Null Space Labs would let us do like a nighttime thing after the conference where people who are coming from out of town can come over to Null Space Labs, plant their flag, put some stickers up and like hang out with us, solder a little bit, and eat some pizza, whatever. So if you guys think that's a good idea, I think that we might actually do that and then have some people from the Hackaday SuperCon come on over and hang out with us when we're at Null Space Labs doing cool things. So yeah, look forward to that. I am definitely looking forward to this conference. I'm going to be doing another stream probably from the conference when it's live on Friday. So you guys will get to see a little bit more about what the conference is like. We might have a guest on. We'll see. There's going to be a lot of really cool people at the conference in town. And I have to say, I've met some of my closest friends from this conference. There's really a ton of like great people here. So yeah, I'm really, really excited about it. Okay. So, all right, I've covered my Halloween costume, I have covered a little bit about the horrible screaming thing I've made. I have to say, I know that like, that isn't my usual job. And I have to say also, this is the one hat I didn't want to wear for the stream because I have literally no affiliation with 1Password whatsoever, except for the fact that they give free 1Password accounts to journalists. So like, okay, I actually will shout them out for that. But yeah, it's when you work in tech and you end up getting a bunch of random like stuff from conferences, like you sometimes forget what you're wearing. But yeah, I forgot I was wearing this hat today. I keep seeing it and be like, why am I repping 1Password? I'm like, oh, right, because they're friendly to journalists, that's why. So, all right, so let's talk a little bit about rapid prototyping, like why I'm so interested in that. And if you guys have any questions, I feel like Make It Hackin is the friggin' guy to ask about that too. One of the things that I explain to people when they're like, oh, there's a hacker conference in town. I'm like, well, there's kind of like two different flavors of hackers. When people just say hackers, they're thinking people that are soldering and building stuff, and they're also thinking people typing away and like making software. And those are like kind of two different groups. Like there's a lot of overlap, but the college degrees you would get to go into one versus the other, and the jobs that you tend to do like with one versus the other are very different. So this is going to be a maker conference, and one of the things that is the best joy of like maker style people is rapid prototyping. It's like coming up with an idea, skipping all the steps that are like not fun, and just getting right to like making the thing and having like a physical object that demonstrates something. I think Make It Hack It is one of my favorites in terms of like being able to put out like a badge or something else that exemplifies a concept. And my favorite one still, I think, is the like the shoplifting badge. Sorry, the physical in-store security badge that will like set off all these alerts and shows you how these different physical security systems work, like within the badge. Like really cool example. So I've been looking at doing a number of different like proof of concepts that are relatively simple to do with hardware, and some of them are just personal projects. Creating a weather station or making a thing that screams in a dark tunnel at people that I don't know. Like these are things that are designed to, serve a specific purpose and prove that you can just combine these components like Lego parts and get something that works. Now, are there cybersecurity implications for this? Yes, absolutely. Like, I'm basically creating an intruder detector, but instead of like, reporting it, I'm screaming at them. There are other things here that you could do as well that would be maybe more related to cybersecurity, but because I kind of sit like in the middle of like hardware people and software people, maybe leaning a little bit more on the hardware people, this is an exciting thing for me. Like being able to take an idea out of the back of your head and then like make the code for it, get the hardware for it, like wire it together yourself. Like you really feel cool, honestly, compared to some of this like computer science stuff that's very dry and boring and like abstract. So I think that that's why a lot of people enjoy this sort of like rapid prototyping hardware style thing. It's not very forgiving when it comes to making mistakes, because just smoke comes out of your thing, or like it doesn't work, or something gets really, really hot and fries itself. But I think that that's kind of the point, like being able to learn how to make a thing based on an idea without a lot of infrastructure, I guess. So that is what the Hackaday SuperCon is all about. Hopefully you can still see people. Oh yeah, you can see David, who helps me create the null byte channel back there, soldering away at some of the badges. So yeah, there's a lot of really great stuff that's going to happen here. And hopefully I'll be able to talk to you guys about a lot more of these like maker style hardware projects, because there's a lot of them that are going to be debuting here. In fact, I think that my favorite one, to kind of give a shout out to like my own earlier show, we did a interview series at the last 2018 Hackaday SuperCon, where we met people who scavenged for parts at the dollar store. So they would actually go to the Dollar Tree, they would find things that were electronics that were so incredibly discounted that it was like a really good deal to get like a bunch of these things, and then do a workshop based on buying like 20 of these things or whatever, and taking out the LEDs or using some component for it that's otherwise kind of hard to find. So I was really impressed by this. I've done a couple workshops based on taking apart stuff from the dollar store and using the electronics inside. And yeah, I thought that was really cool. Just the spirit of the kind of people that come here is definitely intensely creative. All right, so I don't know why I'm not able to, well, I do. It's because I'm using Firefox today and I'm in an unknown place and I'm doing live demos, but that's why it seems like I'm not able to share my screen today. But yeah. All right, so I'm probably going to cut this stream a little bit short today, just based on the lack of control I have over the set and how like incredibly close I am to it. But yeah, it's been a good Halloween. There are definitely a lot of cool projects that I'm going to be reporting on in the next, I don't know, like 5 days or so. And the Hackaday SuperCon is coming on good when it comes to all the soldering and all the events that are going to be taking shape there. So yeah, that's kind of the primary reason why I was here. But if anybody is in the Los Angeles/Burbank area and is interested in the Null Space Labs event, I will definitely also post more information about that on Friday when we have everything kind of nailed down. All right, it looks like looks like yeah, one of our attendees has to go. Okay, well, goodbye. Say hi to your mom for me. Okay, so I am probably going to go a little bit early today, just because there is a lot of soldering that still needs to be done. But yeah, just wanted to give a shout out to Hackaday SuperCon, and of course, per always, our sponsor Varonis, for allowing me to do this stream. Getting to go to these conferences, getting to interact with these people is how I stay current with all the stuff that's going on. It's how I get to introduce all of you to cool new projects and also new concepts. So without them, it would certainly be very hard to do that. So yeah, thank you to Varonis for making sure that I can not only check out this awesome conference, but also that I can do this stream and reach all of you. So if you want to support the stream, you can always go to varonis.com/Kody. That's Kody. They do check to see if anybody is actually clicking that link. So if you enjoy the stream, it's a free way you can let them know that you do in fact enjoy it. If you guys have any questions, you can always drop them in our Discord server. That is at nugget.lol. And of course, you can also leave your comments on the YouTube channel and I will answer them when I see them here. Oh yeah, it's Angelina. So, all right, we like half the guests that we've had on the show are like back here right now. All right, so I will, yes, I will see you in a couple days, make it happen, and I will see the rest of you on Friday. Yeah, talk to all of you soon. Goodbye.